So, Jade, 500 days undefeated, over 180 days champion, a mom, a wife. I have to know, what do you eat? Because you like your physique, the diet. What is it?
So I've turned everything into a lifestyle that I eat. It took about 2 or 3 years of trial and error and a lot of money to figure out what I like. You like healthy food. You like healthy food. Everybody likes healthy food. You just don't know what you like.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of trial and error figuring it out. I love salmon. I love brown rice. I love things like that. I can eat that all the time. And I pig out when I'm on the road, unfortunately, because we get out at like 1 o'clock in the morning for the most part. But I have a pretty strict, clean diet.
What is the cheat meal there? Is there a cheat meal?
So it depends on the city that we're in, and I like trying, like if we're in St. Louis, I'm like, all right, barbecue or anything like that. That's what I do. Miami, I'm like, all right, what kind of seafood can I get into? Even though I love seafood.
So seafood is your cheat meal.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Punk, I wanted to ask you. So, look, every time you've stepped into a major role, you shifted the landscape of wrestling. Rather from WWE days, being champion, having summer Punk days from ROH to WWE days, now being back, the landscape of wrestling has changed once again. Now that you have this injury, you're able to take time, but still actively wrestling, still actively doing these things, still actively in the world. What is your thoughts of the current state of professional wrestling?
I mean, be more specific. What do you?
Well, I mean, you look at it and see, like, I think
I will very much be that guy, and I'll say there's, I mean, if you want to talk about professional wrestling, it's probably a lot different than what some people might consider, sports entertainment. To me,
right.
It's
two different things.
Two completely different things.
I really want to talk about professional wrestling because professional wrestling is now mainstream. Like the art of professional wrestling, not sports entertainment.
Is it?
Well, I think so. I think with AEW now, like I think AEW to me, and growing up going to PWG, AEW is the PWG in large arenas. It's the thing that I went to at the Legion Halls and fell in love with Young Bucks. But when I watched and found tapes of you in ROH, like that's not a thing that I didn't see for years on WWE television, right? So I think it is a mainstream thing now. You guys are pulling in major numbers, and it affects the other side or whatever other side, because either they have to say we're going to copy that or we're going to be completely different because we can't do that. And I feel like with you, it's just my opinion, I feel like with you and Brian and Jade, like Jade is a prime example. Like she's, homegrown there, but it's still professional wrestling with, that's all. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the landscape.
The landscape, it depends on your perspective. It depends on, I think, how grumpy I am that day. Because you can go either way. You can say that, oh man, wrestling's dying, or you can say, well, look at it's thriving. For the first time, there's a second company that's a viable. I'm not going to say it's a viable threat. It's just a viable, healthy company in a second place where men and women can get paid to wrestle in a ring on television. I know there's people that think Dynamite's the greatest thing in the world. There's people that think Dynamite isn't good. There's people that think it's somewhere in the middle. It could be better. But because we're having that conversation, I suppose pro wrestling is thriving. I'm always the guy that's going to say, well, I do this with my life, so I'll try to correlate it that way. Like you say, I've shifted the landscape of pro wrestling. It's like, okay, great. That was yesterday. What can I do? What can I do today to shift the landscape of professional wrestling? What can I do tomorrow to make it better? And I do think that on Dynamite you get a little bit of everything. You get that PWG stuff, and then you got guys like me, Cash, and Dax, who love Southern wrestling, and it's about a connection with the audience. It's about good guys and bad guys. So there's something for everybody there, and I think that's a good thing. More days than that.
Jade, with Stokely added, so this was something that I think fans like fantasy booked a long time.
Yeah,
It's like,
I've seen
if we
it.
could just get him here and make like, what has that felt like, or have you felt just a difference or shift or anything with
Yeah.
Stokely being a part of the baddie club?
The baddie?
I don't
Yeah,
want to like
yeah,
call him a
yeah.
baddie, but yes.
Yeah, he's my PR.
Yes.
Stokely is such a professional. He's on it. He gathers all the information he can to make the best promo that he can. Like, he lives, eats, and breathes like this one. This is what he loves. I was excited to find out throughout the pay-per-view that I was working with him. I didn't know until literally he came up and was like, all right, this is what's happening. All right, cool. Like, all right. It was such a shock. But it's nice. It's nice to work with him. He looks at things from a whole different scope. And he helps me out with ideas. He's refreshing. He's funny. So it's a great dynamic.
It's amazing. I wanted to follow up with the Mercedes thing because that is something we've all screamed online about.
We're going in
You're
water.
right. Okay. Yeah,
I told you.
No, we're going in water. We're going in water.
But I
Somebody
think
on Twitter is going to be mad at you.
no, they're not. I think it's more on your side than not, right? Like
I don't know. Like my thing is always I can't listen to people criticize me if I wouldn't ask advice from them. You know, you can't lead people somewhere you've never gone. You know, and I try to be as humble as I can be, and I don't like talking about myself. But I was the first guy through the wall, and I got fucking bloodied for it. You know what I mean? Like, and to watch somebody else stand up and walk out, I'm always going to support that 100%. You know, I've never met Mercedes. I don't know her. You know, but I definitely feel solidarity with her. You know, like I know how that place is. You know, and I know how women are treated there. I'm not a woman myself, so I can't put myself in those shoes. But you know, there's probably a lot of reasons why she pieced out.